I think Lindsey Graham is essentially a metaphorical suicide bomb for the Republican Party. In fact, if the Democrats could make a Republican and put him in leadership and say, haha, this guy is going to sabotage the party, it would be Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham consistently says the dumbest things on the planet. He said he wants regime change in Russia. And now here he was out there today, once again, because he didn't learn his lesson from the midterms, because Republicans didn't learn his lessons from the midterms. He's once again out here saying that he basically says he wants to reform, quote unquote, aka cut Social Security and Medicaid. Let's take a listen.
Entitlements are going to consume the budget. Right now, we're at 2050, we're going to have 185% of debt to GDP. Medicare and Social Security and other entitlement programs are worth saving are going to consume the debt. We're down to a small fraction of the federal pie to run the discretionary part of government. So entitlement reform is a must for us to not become Greece. So
the disgrace of him, too, to say this. Notice what's on his lapel there. He has an American-Ukrainian flag pin. So he has the foreign flag of the country he won't stop giving money to on the suit jacket. But he has the nerve to stand there and say, well, you know what the problem is? The problem is not foreign entitlements. The problem is not, Ukrainian entitlements. The problem with our debt is, specifically, he names the entitlements Medicare and Social Security and hints that they need to be reformed. Because surely that's not going to be used as a huge soundbite in 2024, right, Lindsey? You dingus. Okay? And this is what's so funny. They always tell us MAGA, quote unquote, people. They always say, oh, you guys just don't know strategy. You don't know what's electable. You don't know how electability works. Really, Republican establishment, is this what is electable to you? What is electable to you is going out there and saying that Social Security is an entitlement and we need to reform Social Security. Because let me tell you something. I mean, like I said, I feel like the 2020 election results really ought to speak for them. 2022 election results really ought to speak for themselves. But if you really don't believe me on that front, just use your head for a second. Think about this logically, okay? Of all the entitlements out there, including welfare, which I didn't hear you name that. I mean, I know you hinted about it, but Social Security, first of all, is one of the only ones that you actually pay into. Okay, I would argue it's not really even an entitlement. I don't know, you could call it that, but still, people actually pay forcibly against their will. They pay money to get the Social Security back. That's number one. But that's not even the important part. The important part politically, Lindsey, is this. That's your voters, okay? That is who is the primary Republican electorate? People over 35 and especially people over 65. So what the heck are you thinking, Lindsey? What are you thinking? Okay, you could just keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say anything. You could say, cut this, cut that. No one's going to care. But you're talking about the one thing that the Republican electorate actually cares about and will seriously screw over Republicans if they talk about. And this is a pretty known fact, especially after Republicans very famously stood up at the State of the Union and said, we're not after Social Security. Well, what's Joe Biden going to do now, Lindsey? What are the Democrats going to do? They're going to run with this and say, see, Republicans really do want to come for Social Security. And they wouldn't entirely be wrong because you kind of just went out there and said it, didn't you? Didn't you? And you might say, Vince, but morally speaking, he's right. Principally speaking, he's right. Social Security is not sustainable. Medicare is not sustainable. They are false promises that are bankrupting our country. Perhaps that is true. I would actually kind of in a principled sense agree with you. Yes, it is kind of true. Those systems were always designed to blow up in our face. And I've talked before, I think in many ways you could argue FDR put those things into place in order to sort of make politics intertwined or kind of bedridden to the liberal bureaucratic state. I 100% agree. But I would still say at the same time, it is not smart politics to go after Social Security. And this should be a known fact. Like, did we not learn this in 2022? Are we seriously still doing this a year before the next presidential election when the primaries are already heating up? One of the top guys in the Senate GOP is going to go out there and say the exact same thing? What are you thinking? And like I said, the insulting nerve of this too, again, it'd be one thing to just be Thomas Massey, Ron Paul. He's just the absolute, everything needs to be cut down. Dude, he's wearing a Ukrainian lapel pin. Okay, so he's going out there and telling not just anyone, hey, Republican voters, hey, people who've worked and paid W-2s their whole life and, paid payroll tax their whole life and now are expecting their Social Security. while I wear the flag of a foreign country, like the neoconservative, disgusting traitor to the United States that I am, I'm going to tell you about how we need to reform Social Security and Medicare. It's revolting, it's disgusting, it's sick, and it's just absolutely a disgrace to the Republican Party. Again, Lindsey, what are you doing? What are you thinking? I thought that's all the Republican establishment cared about, too. They say, oh, the neocons, they're all just about power. They're not about principle. Well, if you're about power, then why are you doing this? Because this is the opposite way to get power. This is how to lose every single election, so on and so forth, okay? It's absolutely ridiculous. So let me just say it in closing one more time. Campaigning against Social Security is not winning politics for Republicans. And I don't care how right principally we think we are, because I don't even entirely disagree. If I had it my way, I would say payroll tax should have never been a thing to begin with. It just shouldn't be a thing anyway. It's a scam. It was always designed to blow up in our face. That was always going to happen. And if I had my way, I would say, yeah, actually, let's just get rid of Social Security altogether. It shouldn't even exist. But it does exist. And so long as it exists, it's not going to be smart politics to take away something from people that, they actually paid their whole lives to have. Okay? That's the biggest issue with it. People have paid their whole lives. You guys always talk about, those lame welfare collecting. That's not the people who collect Social Security, right? It's the opposite of that. You could go for Medicaid. You could go for food stamps. You could go for welfare, anything. You could go for freaking funding to public education. I don't even care. Social Security, Republicans, is the one thing you cannot touch. And here you have Lindsey Graham committing political suicide for the Republican Party while wearing a foreign flag on his lapel pin. Hey guys, Vince Dow here. Hope you enjoyed that clip from the Vince Dow Show. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And be sure to check out the Vince Dow Show live every weeknight here on this channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a great show. Many are saying this. So leave a like, check out our other clips, and be sure to check out the show. Yeah. God bless.